Hello and welcome to If I Ruled the World, the panel game that shows more of the ugly face of politics than Robin Cook's passport. This week, joining Graeme on the blue team is Fred MacAuley, and on the red team with Jeremy is Rebecca Front. OK, now, let's kick off with State of the Nation. We've asked our audience a number of questions, and all our potential politicians have to do is to work out the most popular answers. Now, Jeremy, the question we want you to deal with is this. Which American product should we ban? This is in the light of the banana trade war.
Well, let me say we have a relationship with America of close, personal subservience. And because of the Americans' attacks on our exports of things like cashmere, we thought we should do something to express the strength of our feeling. And so we're going to hit them hard by targeting the American export of Kendal mint cake.
Well, that's your policy, but what do you think the audience would say?
Most people here, I would say, probably either Monica Lewinsky or Frankenstein Foods, or maybe Werewolf Foods, or...
I'm going to have to press you for one
Frankenstein
answer.
Foods.
Frankenstein Foods. And the answer was, from the audience, Americans. Another suggestion from the audience is that American chocolate that smells a bit like sick. Or breasts that explode on planes was another suggestion. Somebody said we should ban Lethal Weapon 1, 2 and 4, but not 3. So it's a bit of a film buff there. Graeme, the question for you is, what are Sundays for? What are Sundays for?
Sundays are for sprinkling little tiny bits of chocolate on top of.
Yeah. And, AYS at the end, Sundays.
Yeah, Sunday. What are they for?
Yeah,
well,
what are they for?
People do lots of different things on Sundays, like washing the car and going out with the kids, doing the garden, watching telly.
The full life you have.
But I think this audience probably remember that the Lord rested on the 7th day from his labours, and so I guess they would say shopping.
So shopping?
Shopping.
What are Sundays for? The audience replied, hangovers. 18%. I think it's a younger audience here than you're expecting.
Yes.
In fact, they went for going to the pub was 17%, and IKEA came in third.
That's shopping.
Sex and songs of praise was one person's answer, so there is still a religious aspect to the audience here. In fact, going to church got 1%, equal with drug abuse. So, there you go. Rebecca, the question was, what's the best thing about being a woman?
Well, we hear very often about the downsides of being a woman, inequality of opportunities and inequality of pay and the pressures to conform to a physical ideal. There are obviously positive aspects, as I'm sure the audience is aware. Having a perfect excuse for shoplifting, for example, is one. Looking at the audience, I would say that most of the women, probably all of the women, would say the best thing about being a woman is having intimate, girly chats with your friends. I think probably one or two of the cannier men in the audience will have said the same because they think it will get them laid. And the majority of men, and therefore I think probably the majority of the audience, would say having your own breasts.
So having your own breasts?
Yes, I think so.
OK, let's see what the audience did answer. Best thing about being a woman? Multiple orgasms.
Well, not in my experience, Clive.
No.
All right.
That beat cheaper car insurance into second place. Nipples that work was the closest to your suggestion. Fred, this is your question. What's the best thing about being a man?
Speaking personally, I think it's the fact that you can grow a beard without having to go into a freak show. And as a Scottish...
You've still got that option, I think.
As a Scot involved in politics with a beard, and I think I can speak for Robin in this as well, the best thing about being a man is there's plenty out there, you know? I think you know where I'm coming from. Yes. Oh, and that's another one about being a man, is you know when you've had an orgasm. And so does the rest of the cabinet.
But only one at a time, apparently, because women have multiple ones, and we don't.
Well, it depends how many days you're doing the survey over, Clive.
Yeah. So what is your answer?
I think it's bollocks.
So is that your answer or a comment on the question?
It's my answer.
Yes.
Yeah. Having something to scratch of a morning.
Having something to scratch of a morning? What was the answer, in fact, that the audience gave? Can pee anywhere. The other answers were you can throw a ball, which is as close as you got to your answer. People don't laugh at your moustache. Or don't have to read Bridget Jones' diary. So, well done, everybody, and I think you all got close, but not close enough. Let's go on to the yes-no round. It's important that a politician fails to answer a direct question with a direct answer, and the particular rule of this round is if any of them says yes or no, then we'll hear this noise, and the person saying yes or no will be eliminated. Graeme, was Prince Charles right to support the Falklands when he was in Argentina?
He was right, and yet, in a sense, wrong.
Do you support the Falklands?
Well, I do, and in a sense, don't.
Do you feel sorry for Argentina?
I do, in a way, but yet, in a very real sense, I couldn't give a toss.
Was it good for exporters of Union Jacks that they decided to burn them while Prince Charles was there?
That was excellent news.
Have you been tangoed?
No, I haven't had that.
Oh, you were going so well. So, Jeremy, let's turn to weightier matters. You're not interested in royalty, are you?
I have a very great interest in them. They do a marvellous job for this country.
Do they?
Well, they're not here much, which helps.
Are you excited about Sophie and Edward's forthcoming wedding?
I think the nation waits with
Have you been invited?
I shall, of course, be invited as
Will you go?
Senior. I shall show my face, you know.
Why?
I shan't stay. I'll just pop my face round.
Yes. Have you seen
Toaster?
Yeah. Have you seen the photographs of Sophie with Chris Tarrant?
I have seen them, and
Yes.
I've enjoyed them very, very much. And I'm sure that somebody like Edward will be able to see the funny side of the marriage.
What about the budget? Did the Chancellor put taxes up?
I really couldn't tell you,
Why not?
because I haven't read the budget.
Are you on the right programme?
I'm on the right programme, but I don't have anything to do with the exchequer side of things. You know, maths.
Are you interested in tobacco smuggling?
Fascinated.
Do you welcome the appointment of a tobacco czar?
I really do.
You do?
Absolutely.
Do you import tobacco from Belgium yourself?
Personally, I don't.
Can you name 5 famous Belgians?
Poirot.
He comes from a big family, I think you're okay. Jeremy, the budget, was it too good to be true?
Well, it was a family budget, which means there was no bad language.
Oh, yes, quite right. Fred MacAuley, are you pleased about the sale of Wembley?
Yesterday, I would have been... to give you a direct answer, and I know it's a straight answer you want, Clive, but I'm not gay.
Have you ever been to Wembley?
Nobody that I know has been to Wembley.
Nobody you know?
No one at all.
Do you follow football?
I do.
Who do you support?
St Johnstone.
Have they ever won anything?
No.
Okay, so Rebecca Font wins that round. Well done, Rebecca Font. Okay, if we move on to... I like to keep in touch. We're going to test out Jeremy and, first of all, Graeme, and see if they're up to date on matters of popular culture. Graeme, first of all, I'll give you 90 seconds to answer a question about film. Your time starts now. Who said you're only meant to blow the bloody doors off?
The 3 Little Pigs. One of them was Michael Caine.
Oh, Michael Caine, you were just teasing me. Yes, a point there. Who is Little Voice?
Ian Paisley.
Not even close. Jane Horrocks. Jane Horrocks. Who said he was going to get medieval on your ass?
Geoffrey Chaucer.
Marsalis Wallace, I'm afraid. Who's got mail?
Martina Navratilova.
I'm afraid we were looking for Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. What was the love bug?
It was rather unpleasant, but it's cleared up now.
Well, that's interesting, but the answer we were looking for was Herbie. Who once ate 50 boiled eggs and now makes his own tomato sauce?
Very nasty side effect. It was Paul Newman.
Paul Newman, yes, point there. Who said you just put your lips together and blow?
It was either Bill Clinton or Bogey.
No, it was Lauren Bacall. Said two bogeys.
Two
but,
bogeys,
yeah. Who's the Terminator?
Noel Edmonds.
No, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. I thought you'd have known that. What was the first sentence ever said in the cinema?
I think it was, would you kindly remove your hat?
No, you ain't seen nothing yet, so that's it. And you've got 2 points to Graeme Barton. Okay. Now I'll switch to Jeremy. The subject here is television. You have 90 seconds, and your time starts now. In which show do they say, please don't have nightmares?
Antiques Roadshow.
No, not really trying on the Crime Watch. What has been voted the top TV kids programme of all time?
Newsnight.
Bagpuss, apparently. Who famously went to the toilet on Blue Peter studio floor?
Oliver Reed.
I'd like to give you something with that, but it's Lulu the elephant, or John Noakes, depending on which show we're talking about. Who goes through your keyhole?
Prostate surgeons.
The answer we wanted was Lloyd Grossman, who I don't think is a prostate surgeon. Who said, I ain't going on no plane?
Buddy Holly.
Well, I'm afraid he didn't. It could either be Dennis Bergkamp or Mr. T in the A-Team. Who wouldn't you like when he's angry?
Tinky Winky.
The Incredible Hulk. What's the latest BBC medical drama?
Vets win prizes.
It's a possibility, but it's Holby City. Who believes the truth is out there?
Jeffrey Archer.
I doubt it. It's Mulder and Scully from the X-Files. Who got into mischief with Pinky?
Robin Cook.
Perky was the answer, and you've got a grand total of no points. So, now might be a time to open up the programme to members of the studio audience. Has anybody here got a question for the panellists to see if they can answer? Yes, gentleman there in the blue shirt was, I think, first.
Yes, what are the panel doing to prepare for the Millennium Bug?
Fred.
Just taking one day at a time.
Are you preparing for the Millennium Bug, Rebecca?
I've had my Millennium Jab.
Graeme.
Yes, well, we're preparing a big welcome party for the bug when it arrives.
Lady there.
What's your view on animal testing?
What's your view on animal testing?
Well, we could have a league table of animals, clearly. And name and shame those animals, like pandas, who are very, very low achievers.
Yes.
And we should have more selective zoos, so it's harder for these animals to get in.
Yes. What about makeup? Do you think makeup...
It's not makeup, it's their fur.
Yes.
I must say it's important to buy makeup that's not been tested on animals, because you don't want lipstick with a load of dog hairs all over it.
Another question? Gentleman there?
What do you think the future holds for Scotland?
What do you think the future holds for Scotland? Fred, I don't know why I should turn to you first on this,
I
but...
might come in this one.
Yes.
I think obviously a lot depends on how we perform against the Czech Republic in June.
Do you have a view on Scotland, or the Red Party?
We haven't finalised our plans for devolution, but I think at the last count it's going to become part of Wales, isn't it?
Yes, well, I predict for the future of Scotland that Macbeth shall be king hereafter, and that Birmingham Wood will come to Dunsinane, but maybe I'm being very old-fashioned.
Yes, any more questions? Gentleman there with glasses and a grey shirt.
Do you think student loans should be abolished?
No, I think the loans should be continued, but the repayments should be abolished.
Okay, that's a popular... Any more questions? Yes, girl there with the...
What do you think about the decision to give the Ramblers the right to roam?
The Ramblers the right to roam, the decision.
Well,
Do you think...
this is a popular, radical, democratising step which people in my party have wanted for 50 years, so I can't imagine how I've let it happen. I mean, look at thought you were going to be livid. What was I thinking of?
I think it's admirable, actually. I mean, as a Rambler myself, I think we should establish the Ramblers' right to roam, and then probably New York and Paris after that.
I don't think it should stop at rambling. I think there should be rights for people that just mumble and mutter as well.
I'm with you on that. We're going to go on to the pager round. I'm going to interview, first of all, Jeremy, and he has to conduct this interview while getting instructions from his minders and his spin doctors via his pager, and you can follow the instructions if you look at the TV screen. Now then, Jeremy, competition policy and overpricing. Why are we suffering in Britain? Why do we pay more than virtually any other country in the world for similar goods?
Well, we looked at the average family basket of groceries and thought, oh, yuck, poor people's food.
And what I want to know is, when can somebody go into a shop in Britain and pay roughly the same price as they might do in France or America or Japan?
Not working today, then, sir?
Well, I'm just asking you questions. You know, I'm just interviewing you. It's an important part of the political process these days.
You going anywhere interesting for your holidays?
Well, I was hoping to go to France or Italy, maybe, where I could buy things much cheaper than I do in
I tell you, we went
London.
somewhere. We bought the most fantastically cheap wine. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, well, why is it cheaper?
Portugal.
Why is it cheaper on the continent of Europe compared to here?
Well, let me just say this.
Well, no, well, even take a TV set. A television set. A television set made in Japan, you get 30% off if you get it in America. Are you all right? Look, can you just look at me, because I want to just a television set made in Japan should be the same price in Britain or in France.
Well, they're smaller in Japan, and they're made by our prisoners, so obviously they're cheap.
Are you going to? Is it into a sort of monopoly position?
The important
of
thing is that we need the canny, pennywise thrift of a Scotsman in the car. Obviously, we've got rather a lot, but I think we could get one or two more. And I think we're an inclusive government, and we could do with the wisdom of people who are Scottish with beards. And
but I think Jeremy Clarkson was pointing out the other day, you can go to Belgium and pick up a British-made car for maybe 10, 20, even 30% off the price. Now, why should that be? Why should that be necessary?
I'll tell you.
What?
I'll tell you what you can do, mother. You dissing me?
I'm not your mother.
Your mother.
No, you're
dissing me.
No, I don't know if why you're worried about. I'm not anything to do with dishes. I'm just here.
Your mother.
No, I don't know why you're bringing
Swivel.
Are you indicating there's going to be 1% improvement on pricing? Is this what you're trying to say?
Well, the important thing that I will say here is that Lord Quicksave said to us. He said to us, you can't stop talking. Why don't you give it a rest?
Well, thank you much. We'll end it there, Jeremy Harvey. Now then. Let me turn to Graeme Garden, and I want to ask you about the future of the British family. Do you think it's the case that the family is the essential building block of society?
I think it is, and I think it's very much under threat.
Isn't there the end of the British family anyway? I think the figures show that the number of people getting married is 20% down over the last 10 years.
Well, you know, I mean, I had it 3 times last night, and...
I'm not sure your personal life is really what we want to know about.
Well, it's very much about personal life.
Yes, it is.
The whole point of a family is
But
that
young
it's the
people
group of
are
personal
not
life.
deciding to get married anymore. They might live together, they might not, but they're certainly not getting into marriage with each other the way they used to do.
No, but I mean, they ought to. They ought to get married. Everybody should get married. Rebecca is not married.
Isn't she?
I happen to be free now.
Yeah. But should politicians get involved in this, or should you just discover what people are doing and just respond accordingly?
Yep.
Where do you stand on the abolition of the married couple's allowance? Do you support its abolition?
Nope.
It was £190 a year, wasn't it?
Yep.
So would you reinstate it?
Nope.
So you're happy for it to be abolished?
Yep.
Could you explain your fiscal policy?
Well, that was separate. Down, boy.
In 50 years' time, do you still expect that the people will be living in nuclear family units, husband and wife,
They'll
children?
be living in nuclear shelters.
Nuclear shelters, yeah. And are you concerned about the way the family life is going?
Well, I am, and if we look around, you can see a gentleman sitting just second from the end of the front row there. Now, no self-respecting family would have him in it, would they?
Well, thank you very much, Graeme. Gone. I think we'll perhaps leave it there. Right. It's time for a reshuffle. In this round, our teams must appoint some new members to their cabinet. They have to pick a number, and whoever is revealed behind the number, they have to justify that person's inclusion. Jeremy, can we start with you?
Number 2.
Number 2. Jeremy's gone for number 2. And, well, it's the Duke of Edinburgh. You can ignore the 2 girls he's with, even if he can't.
Would have been an excellent foreign secretary.
Yes.
His diplomatic skills are par none.
Par none?
Before Christmas, he was in Malaysia for the Commonwealth riots, cheering on the police there.
Yes.
And I had the pleasure of being with him in India, and he showed great wit and grace in disarming his host. As we sat down to dinner, he said, "Plain omelette for me, thanks. My arse was on fire for a month last time I ate this."
Yes. Yes.
So I think he'd make an excellent foreign secretary. Also, the great thing is, wherever he goes, he evokes great sympathy for the Queen.
Right. OK. Graeme, who are you going to get?
4.
Number 4. And who have we got there? Chris Tarrant.
Yes, I think he'd be an excellent addition to the cabinet. I would see him as Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Oh, right.
You could see him making his budget speech to the pensioners. Your pension is, at the moment, £78. You could double it. And here's the question. Where are your glasses?
All right. Very good. Rebecca, front. Could you select one?
Number 6.
Number 6. Who are you going to get? That's Darth Vader, if I'm not mistaken.
We were actually going to offer Mr. Vader, as I call him, the position of Minister for Defence Procurement.
Yes.
Obviously, that wouldn't be appropriate in the light of the lightsabers to Iraq scandal. We are in discussion with him about 1 or 2 possible positions. I mean, he is master of all evil in the universe, and obviously since Peter Mandelson left, there's a vacancy there. Yeah. Possibly Mayor for London. Yeah. On the basis of anyone but Archer, really.
Yeah. All right.
Let me say he would make an excellent Home Secretary, Lord Vader, because let's not forget, he did cut off his own son's hand just to prove how hard he is.
Yes. All right. Well, let's, with that happy thought, let's go to Fred MacAuley.
Could I have number 1?
Number 1, certainly. Certainly, Fred. And there we have it's Posh Spice and Beckham, David Beckham. So you can have them together. And throw in an extra baby as well, I think.
The baby might, given the fact that it dribbles a lot and hasn't got control of its bowels yet, might automatically qualify for a seat in the Lords. But I thought, you know...
Lord Brooklyn.
Yeah, Brooklyn, exactly. Yeah. Named after the favourite bridge, which was a stroke of luck because they've been toying with Chelsea, Battersea, Albert, yes. King George V, yeah. And Humpback.
Yes.
I think we'll have to give them...
Erskine Bridge.
Erskine Bridge, of course.
Yeah.
It's my mother's maiden name, which only Clive knew.
We go back a long way, me and your mother.
It does explain rather a lot, doesn't it, Clive?
Let's go on to a round called... I couldn't disagree more. It's important that any politician could be able to disagree with anything said by his opponents, however reasonable those things being said are. Jeremy, can you disagree with anything that Fred and Graeme now throw at you?
Jesus was a religious kind of a guy.
Well, we don't actually know this. The evidence is very scanty. I mean, the Gospels contradict each other. I mean, according to Matthew and Mark, Jesus says, "Father, forgive them, they know not what they do." According to Luke, he says, "Father, unto thy hands I commend my spirit," which is a totally different version of events, and that's journalism for you. According to the police, he resisted arrest and fell on the cross when they were putting him in the van.
War. What's it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Say it again?
We wish the British nominees at the Oscars every success.
No, our films are shite, let's be honest. Because American films have budgets and guns and good-looking people and cars, and all our films about amiable people getting themselves into a frightful pickle.
Cabinet ministers should not drink blood.
Be fair, I mean, we are doomed to stalk the earth for all eternity, and we have to live on something.
Lady in Red by Chris de Burgh is without doubt the worst record ever made.
No, I couldn't disagree more. All of the records of Celine Dion are without doubt the worst records ever made.
We're very near the end of the programme. Just enough time for some desperate vote grabbing. So if anyone got any policies they think are going to swing the odd voter their way, then ring or buzz. Graeme.
We shall lift the hosepipe ban in North Yorkshire.
We're going to do something about the appalling state of Britain's leisure facilities. I mean, people are going to these so-called leisure centres to do 2 hours of hard physical exercise, when a leisure centre should be somewhere you can sit around in your pants watching cartoons.
We want to get back to traditional Victorian family values by putting children up chimneys.
We're going to introduce a laughter track on Animal Hospital.
We're going to restrict the right to roam of the Countryside Alliance to stop them from traipsing through our streets with no respect for our urban ways, shouting their slogans like, "Listen to us and we're all related."
Equality for pets. We're going to introduce dog flaps.
We pledge that in future, black motorists will be allowed to pull police cars over and say, "Is this your car, Constable?"
And that's the final vote, so well done, everybody, with your policy grabbers. Well, we come to the general election. This is the big one. This is when you decide which of these two teams you would prefer to form your government. If you want the blue party, vote blue. And obviously, if you want the red party, vote red. And do it now, please. Oh, and a narrow victory just to the red party, so well done. Do you think you lost the vote north of the border? You introduced the Scottish element as a desperate ploy, but it didn't seem to work.
Is that all I am to you, a Scottish element?
Well, well done. Congratulations. So for the red party, an audience with the Queen, and for the blue party, an audience with Jimmy Tarbuck. That's all from By Rule the World. This is me, Clive Anderson, saying good night. Good night.